No one could have imagined that on what was supposed to be the happiest day for a high school student graduation day, filled with laughter and joy for their family, a devastating tragedy would unfold instead. For the family of Jeremy Koch, instead of celebrating their son's high school graduation, they are now planning a funeral to uncover the details. Let's dive into the case and investigate the truth together. And don't forget to like and subscribe to ensure you don't miss any new true crime cases. At approximately 9:45 a.m. on May 10, 2025, the Dawson County Sheriff's Office in Nebraska received an emergency call from a resident in the Johnson Lake area, specifically Plum Creek Canyon. Number 1. The caller, Lane Kugler, a local resident and father of one of the victims, reported a horrifying scene at his daughter's home: 4 bodies with severe wounds, blood splattered across the floor, and a blood-stained knife nearby. Lane Kugler's voice trembled with anguish as he described believing his daughter, 2 grandsons, and son-in-law had been murdered. The call lasted less than 3 minutes but was enough for the police to recognize this as a serious case, potentially a mass murder. Immediately, a team from the Dawson County Sheriff's Office was dispatched to the scene. The first responders were 2 local officers, supported by a unit from the Nebraska State Patrol (NSP), a force specialized in handling serious crimes in rural areas. Upon arriving at the house in Plum Creek Canyon No. 1, a peaceful area with homes scattered around Johnson Lake, they were shocked by the scene before them. The house, home to the Koch family, now resembled a horror movie set. Blood stained the living room floor, hallway, and even the bedrooms. 4 bodies were found in different parts of the house, 3 in the living room and 1 in the master bedroom. Each victim had multiple stab wounds, with fatal injuries to the chest, neck, and abdomen. The officers quickly secured the scene to preserve evidence. A forensic team from the NSP was called in to collect blood samples, fingerprints, and other evidence, including the knife found near the final body. Meanwhile, Lane Kugler, the person who reported the crime, was taken to a police vehicle for a preliminary statement. He recounted that he had come to visit his daughter, Bailey Koch, that morning to prepare for his grandson Hudson's high school graduation, scheduled for later that day. Upon arriving, he noticed the front door was slightly ajar, which was unusual as the Koch family was always careful about locking it. After calling out with no response, he pushed the door open and discovered Bailey's body near the sofa, his grandsons Hudson and Asher nearby, and his son-in-law Jeremy in the bedroom. He immediately called 911 and waited for the police. Lane Kugler's statement provided initial clues the Koch family had recently faced significant challenges, particularly Jeremy Koch's mental health issues. Lane Kugler mentioned that Jeremy had been discharged from a mental health facility 3 days earlier, on May 8th, to attend Hudson's graduation. He also referenced a GoFundMe campaign started by Bailey to support the family financially and raise awareness about mental health. This information led police to suspect Jeremy might be connected to the crime, but they needed more evidence to confirm. While the scene was being processed, investigators began contacting neighbors and acquaintances of the Koch family to gather more information. Neighbors described the Koch family as friendly and active in community activities, particularly in advocating for mental health through their nonprofit, Anchoring Hope for Mental Health. However, they also noted that the family seemed stressed in recent months, with Jeremy appearing less frequently and Bailey often sharing about her husband's struggles on social media. The police also reviewed security cameras in the area. But Plum Creek Canyon No. 1 is a rural location with limited surveillance equipment. A camera from a neighbor's house captured footage of a Koch family vehicle leaving the home on the evening of May 9th, but no footage was recorded on the morning of May 10th. This raised questions for investigators about whether someone else had visited the house before Lane Kugler discovered the bodies. However, with 4 bodies and a knife at the scene, the initial hypothesis was a murder-suicide, with Jeremy Koch as the primary suspect. By the end of May 10th, the Nebraska State Patrol (NSP) officially informed the media that they were investigating a homicide case at Johnson Lake, with 4 fatalities. They did not immediately release the victims' identities, but the news quickly spread through the tight-knit Dawson County community, causing shock and grief. Investigators knew the next step was to formally identify the victims and the perpetrator while gathering evidence to clarify the motive and sequence of events. Identifying the victims is a critical step in any criminal investigation, especially in a case with multiple deaths like the Johnson Lake incident, in this case. Thanks to Lane Kugler's testimony and personal documents found at the scene, the police quickly identified the 4 individuals in the house. However, to ensure accuracy, investigators requested autopsies and DNA comparisons, along with other methods to confirm the identities of both the victims and the perpetrator. Bailey Koch, 41 years old. Bailey Koch was a special education teacher at Hold-Regi Public Schools, beloved by colleagues and students for her dedication and enthusiasm. Born and raised in Nebraska, she graduated from the University of Nebraska-Kearney with a degree in education. Bailey married Jeremy Koch in 2003 and had 2 sons, Hudson and Asher. At the scene, Bailey's body was found in the living room, near the sofa. She was wearing a t-shirt and shorts, with multiple stab wounds to her chest, neck, and abdomen. Investigators noted signs of self-defense, with cuts on her hands and arms. A mobile phone was found near her body, but there were no messages or calls from the morning of May 10th, suggesting she may have been attacked by surprise. Bailey was the founder of Anchoring Hope for Mental Health, where she shared personal stories about supporting Jeremy through his mental health struggles. She frequently posted on Facebook, urging the community to care about mental health and sharing her family's challenges. Hudson Koch, 18 years old. Hudson was the eldest son of Bailey and Jeremy, an outstanding student at Cozad High School. He was set to graduate high school on the afternoon of May 10th, the day of the incident. Friends described Hudson as intelligent, humorous, and passionate about sports, particularly football and wrestling. Hudson's body was found near the front door, suggesting he may have tried to flee or confront the attacker. He had multiple stab wounds to his chest and abdomen, with a fatal wound piercing his heart. Hudson was wearing a t-shirt and shorts, consistent with a relaxed weekend morning at home. Hudson had been accepted to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, where he planned to study engineering. Family and friends said he was excited about his graduation and future. Asher Koch, 16 years old. Asher, the youngest son, was a high school student at Cozad High School and a promising golfer. His coach praised him for his teamwork and hard work. Asher was quiet but close with family and friends. Asher's body was found in the living room, near his mother, with stab wounds to his chest, neck, and abdomen, indicating a rapid attack with no time to resist. He was wearing a tank top and athletic pants, suggesting he was relaxing when attacked. Asher planned to continue competing in golf and attend college, dreaming of becoming a coach. Friends remembered him as someone who always brought smiles. Jeremy Koch, 42 years old. Jeremy was Bailey's husband and the father of Hudson and Asher. He ran a landscaping business with Bailey for 19 years, but stopped working in August 2024 due to mental health issues. Born in Nebraska, Jeremy was once cheerful and active, but a bipolar disorder diagnosis in 2009 changed him. Jeremy's body was found in the master bedroom, with self-inflicted stab wounds to his chest and neck, indicating he committed suicide after killing his family. He was wearing a t-shirt and jeans, with the blood-stained knife near his body. The wounds were consistent with suicide, differing from those on the victims, confirming he was the perpetrator. Jeremy had a history of psychiatric hospitalizations, with 4 inpatient treatments, the most recent from March to May 8, 2025. Bailey described him undergoing ineffective electroconvulsive therapy, which worsened his condition. He had attempted suicide before, including a car accident in 2012 and an incident with a knife in March 2025. Autopsies conducted at the Dawson County Coroner's Office confirmed identities through dental records, DNA, and personal documents, driver's licenses, IDs. The wounds matched the knife found at the scene. with Jeremy's fingerprints on the handle, reinforcing the theory that he was the perpetrator. No signs of forced entry or external struggle were found. Ruling out an outsider's involvement, police interviewed relatives and friends to verify details. Bailey's parents, Lane and Susan Kugler, confirmed their daughter's and grandson's identities. Friends of Hudson and Asher at Cozad High School provided photos and information matching the bodies. Jeremy's colleagues at the landscaping business confirmed he had not worked recently, consistent with his medical records. Identities were officially announced on May 11th through an NSP press release, confirming Bailey, Hudson, and Asher as victims and Jeremy as the perpetrator in a murder-suicide. The announcement shocked the community, sparking discussions about mental health and domestic violence. Although Jeremy Koch was identified as the perpetrator based on scene evidence, the investigation continued to rule out other theories, verify the sequence of events, and ensure no details were missed. The NSP and Dawson County Sheriff's Office collaborated from May 10 using forensics, interviews, and digital analysis to clarify the case. The NSP forensic team collected evidence on May 10th, 11 knife, a 15 cm blade with a plastic handle, stained with blood from all 4 victims. Jeremy's fingerprints were on the handle, with no unfamiliar prints. Blood samples. Blood was scattered across the living room, hallway, and bedroom, consistent with the body's positions. DNA analysis confirmed the blood belonged to Bailey, Hudson, Asher, and Jeremy. Footprints and handprints. Blood-stained footprints in the bedroom matched Jeremy's shoes. No signs of forced entry, broken windows. Pried locks were found. Personal items. Bailey and Jeremy's phones, wallets, and documents in the house provided identity and recent activity details. Autopsies. Completed on May 12th confirmed Bailey had 12 stab wounds, with a fatal chest wound. Hand cuts indicated self-defense. Hudson had 10 stab wounds, with a fatal heart wound. His position near the front door suggested an attempt to flee. Asher had 8 stab wounds, mostly to the chest, indicating a rapid attack. Jeremy had 3 self-inflicted wounds, with a fatal neck wound. The angle and force were consistent with suicide. Police interviewed over 30 people from May 10 to 15. Family and relatives confirmed Jeremy's mental health struggles, the GoFundMe campaign, and plans to attend Hudson's graduation. Lane, Bailey's father, described discovering the bodies and noted no signs of a stranger's presence. Neighbors confirmed the Koch family was friendly but stressed recently. No one saw strangers around the house on the morning of May 10th. Bailey's colleagues described her as dedicated, often mentioning Jeremy's mental health. No workplace conflicts were reported. Hudson and Asher's friends confirmed the boys were well-liked, with no enemies. Hudson was excited for his graduation. The police visited Richard Young Hospital, which confirmed Jeremy's hospitalization from March to May 8, 2025 with a bipolar disorder diagnosis. Electroconvulsive therapy was ineffective, and he was discharged to attend the graduation. Though doctors warned of relapse risks, police reviewed phones, computers, and social media accounts, finding no unusual activity or messages from strangers. Financial records showed Jeremy and Bailey withdrew retirement funds in December 2024 and January 2025 to pay debts. With no other irregularities, Bailey's Facebook, numerous posts about anchoring hope for mental health, detailing Jeremy's mental health crises, and calling for support. On May 15th, the NSP announced Jeremy killed Bailey, Hudson, and Asher before committing suicide, based on forensic evidence, witness statements, and digital data. The investigation continued to clarify the motive, but the murder-suicide hypothesis was confirmed. The case drew media attention, sparking discussions about mental health. Based on analysis of Jeremy's condition, he was diagnosed with severe depression in 2009, worsening in 2024. Despite treatment, personal issues, likely compounded by financial pressure, contributed. The landscaping business's bankruptcy and retirement fund withdrawals left Jeremy feeling powerless. Unable to provide for his family, exacerbating his condition, Bailey was a devoted wife, actively seeking mental health support through crowdfunding. Financial review. The Koch couple's landscaping business went bankrupt in August 2024 due to Jeremy's inability to work. Records showed complete withdrawal of retirement funds in December 2024 and January 2025 to settle debts. Bailey's GoFundMe raised $2,155 by May 11th, indicating financial urgency. No stable income, leaving the family reliant on Bailey and community support. This financial strain likely intensified Jeremy's sense of helplessness, a common factor in family murder-suicides. Experts suggest Jeremy's actions may have stemmed from a distorted sense of altruism or nihilistic delusion. Believing death was the only escape, he may have felt he failed his family, and taking them with him was his only option. A 2012 car accident and a March 2025 knife incident indicated self-destructive tendencies. Uncontrolled bipolar disorder led to a severe depressive episode on May 10th. Psychological research shows bipolar disorder increases domestic violence risk during depressive phases, especially with failed treatments. The tragedy's deepest sorrow lies with their children. What should have been the happiest day for the family turned into a nightmare, instead of celebrating their son's high school graduation. This Nebraska family is now planning a funeral. The Jeremy Koch case is a tragedy reflecting mental health crises, financial pressure, and inadequate support in America. In despair, Jeremy killed his wife Bailey, sons Hudson and Asher, then himself, leaving irreparable loss. The lack of evidence tampering suggests he didn't hide his actions but sought to end his suffering. The aftermath profoundly impacted the family, community, and society, prompting discussions on mental health and domestic violence. Bailey's mental health advocacy through Anchoring Hope for Mental Health endures, calling for action to prevent similar tragedies. That concludes today's case. Thank you for following along, and we hope you found it engaging. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on the latest cases.